You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered. And this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Friday's Finest. Yes, it is time to discuss all of the world and all of this within it with experts. Well, not really, but hey, we're there anyway. We're gonna give our opinions today, as we do every day. We got James Chip online. Everything is good for the day as we go. Lots going on from political side. Robert Kennedy. We talked about this earlier, picking his running mate to drive Chip into this a little bit. I think it's, as we've talked about before, I think it's going to be more Democratic orientated here. And then also we got opening day from baseball. For those of us, back ready for baseball a little bit, this is interesting. But baseball has started off, and we're going to get into this a little bit. Baseball has just been continuing to fall out of favor with so many Americans. And then the way they've started this year didn't help it at all, with this sort of split bifurcation. And then you got the most famous baseball player in the world is now all but accused of betting. So, I mean, it's like, okay, here we go again in this stuff. But lots to talk about here on the show today. Going to have a lot of good times. Glad you're with us on Friday's Finest. Right after the break, we're going to kick into it. Hey, folks, when you look out and you see the country and just the disarray it is, you see the Biden administration, you see the wholesale prices have just went through the roof again. Inflation is tearing us up. If you have your finances all impinged in just a few areas, if you're just in stocks and bonds and you're not diversified, I got some news for you. You need a navigator. You need somebody to help you get to where you need to go with those finances. And I can't think of anybody better to do that than my friends at Legacy Precious Metals. You need precious metals in that portfolio. You need gold and silver. And Legacy Precious Metals, the folks there, they're the navigators. They know how to deal with tough times. They know and how to look ahead and take your personal situation and make it something that can be workable for you in the long term, because that's, at the end of the day, that's the one you're most concerned about. You need to make sure that your personal finances and your retirement are secure. You need folks like Legacy Precious Metals helping you in that. They will take the time to learn you. They'll learn your finances. They'll learn where your investment goals are, and they'll help you get there. And metals and gold right now, in this kind of crazy inflation, in this kind of crazy economy with the Biden's economy, is just, you need that help. And Legacy Precious Metals is the one to do that. So give Legacy Precious Metals a call, 866-528-1903, 866-528-1903, or you can always visit them online at legacypminvestments.com, and you can download their free investor's guide. Legacy Precious Metals, they're the ones you need. They're the navigators to help you through these turbulent times. Hey, everybody, Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank all of my listeners, the Great Doug Collins podcast listeners, for your continued support. To thank you, they're offering an overstocked clearance sale right now for the best price you ever use when you use the promo code Collins, COLLINS, and you get free shipping on the entire order. You get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0, the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. Get six-pack towel sets for only $29.98. And take advantage of the free shipping on large items like mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made here in the United States and on sale for as low as $99. Everything is on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and much, much more. To get the best specials ever, go to the mypillow.com, and use the promo code Collins, COLLINS, or call 800-986-3994 and use the same keyword Collins, COLLINS, and get free shipping on your entire order while supplies last. MyPillow products, thank you. Y'all go check them out. All right. Chip, James, good to have y'all on today. Chip, let's get started a little bit on some political. I want to hit this. Lots been made of and said about the presidential race. And it's the first time, Chip, in a long time when there's been valid, or at least discussions of the third party candidate wave. And I've had some folks in recent years who are, have come up on the Republican side, and you and I have lived through the problems with voting and electoral, all this kind of stuff. But one of the things that was actually absent in many of the 2020 races is the third-party candidates were not present on the ballots in many states in 2020. The Green Party, Jill, Stein, and all this, which had affected, you could show had an effect on the Hillary Clinton turnout in 2016. What are you seeing right now, and especially with Robert Kennedy now going, he had an opportunity to stay middle of the road or even go a little right. He took a hard left on picking Shanahan, the running mate. How do you see that playing out with a third party this time?
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of people don't know. I mean, they think, Doug, these are national elections, and they are, but they're really 50 different elections in 50 different states, right? Because, each state has different rules and laws that govern ballot access. And so, it's not like, Robert F. Kennedy's going to be on the ballot in 50 states. That won't be the case, right? But I was very intrigued by his, not only by his announcement of Nicole Shanahan, but also how it was kind of rolled out. I was curious because I didn't know a lot about her. When her name was popping up as a possible VP pick, so I just, it doesn't take a lot to Google her and realize, where she stands politically. And, Robert F. Kennedy has made inroads, with folks on the right because of his anti-vaccine stance. And, it's kind of funny. A couple things, both CNN and Fox were planning on covering the announcement from Nicole Shanahan, but Kennedy wouldn't shut up. He kept talking and he kept talking. So when Kennedy got on stage in Oakland to introduce his vice presidential nominee, everybody assumed it would be a 3 or 4 minute lead-in introduction, and then the vice president nominee. That anytime a presidential nominee announced their vice president's pick, it's for the vice president to talk. Kennedy wouldn't shut up, and both of them finally had to leave live coverage to go cover other things because and so I didn't get to see Nicole Shanahan, but I was struck, Doug, by he kept on kind of preferencing, when I was looking for a vice president, I was looking for somebody who was strong on environmentalism and somebody who was strong on this and strong on that and strong on this and strong on that. And I couldn't help but think about how few of those boxes Aaron Rodgers checked. I mean, look, it's going to be a bigger problem for the Democrats. They now have, sans Kennedy's stance on vaccinations, they now have a Kennedy on the ballot with a younger progressive liberal as a vice president. And they're clearly going to take away more votes from Joe Biden than they will Donald Trump, in my opinion.
Here's a question. Did this VP pick keep him from his courting? Because there's been, and this is where I would say there'd be a change, Chip. If he actually courted, or they courted back with the Libertarian Party, which has ballot access basically in all 50 states, I don't think he'll go green. I mean, because Stein says she's running again. But the Libertarian is still an open process. Because like in Georgia, he would be on the ballot automatically on Libertarian ticket. So if that happened, could you see, is it a potential, not that it would, is there a potential Perot kind of problem here where at that point you take 4 or 5% off the ballot for both Republicans and Democrats in some of these states?
Oh yeah, look, if that happened, I don't think that's going to happen because I think there's too many libertarians within the party who've been libertarians 25, 30 years that would probably throw a fit with somebody like. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, look, Jon Stewart, made a joke a couple of days ago and said, both parties are waiting for their nominees to die. I think I would disagree with that and say both parties are waiting for the other party's nominee to die.
Exactly.
But yeah, look, it's it's a rematch. If you look at polling data, it's not a rematch that a lot of America's happy with, and so yeah, look, we hear every 4 years it looks like the environment is ripe for a third party, and when I say the environment, I just mean political environment. And one would think that would exist this year, but look at who we have. I mean, no labels. We talked about no labels. They have access in 17 states, and they couldn't even get Jeff Duncan to go through the vetting process. I mean, Chris Christie said no to him this week, and so yeah, look, it's so hard, right? Not only is ballot access hard, but then you got to define where you are and, where you are on the political spectrum. And when you have to define where you are in the political spectrum, that's when all of a sudden the shine gets, worn off a little bit. And, there's a reason that becoming president of the United States is very hard.
Exactly. Well, it was one of those things that the concern, and I heard this from people in D.C. and Chip, I know you have the contacts in D.C. They were really concerned about a no labels Joe Manchin, Mitt Romney,
of course,
especially Republicans. That would have been a very difficult. Utah could conceivably have been won by a no labels ticket.
Sure,
not that it would have, but it could have, or it would have been a very close race in which the Democrat would
winning at that point in time is in the mid-30s.
Exactly.
Low 30s.
And Democrats could actually take that race.
Yeah.
I've always said it, though, there was some discussion. I had a conversation with a political consultant the other day saying that they were hoping that we'd see third-party, action in Georgia. And I'm saying, you really don't want third-party action in Georgia. Number one, it doesn't necessarily do what you think it does, number one. And number two, you're not third party action in Georgia. The effect would be to take away. They're not going to take away the Democrat vote. They could conceivably take away some Republican vote. It's better, again, the libertarian. How many times have we talked about this in the last 20-something years? Nobody likes to talk about it, but that libertarian vote is just enough in Georgia, because of our runoff system, to cause havoc at times.
That's right.
And so we'll see. I mean, but I'll agree with you. It's going to be harder for him. But although I've heard that, yapping a little bit more. But if they put him on the libertarian ticket and he doesn't run as a true independent, then he makes a much bigger difference in this race. I think you have to at least count him in some of these races.
Agreed. Yeah, and at that
not
point,
as a winner, not as a winner.
Yeah, that's right.
But and I think that's it. Interesting day here in Georgia for those of you. And we talk about it, we laugh about it here on the podcast all the time. Sports betting. By the time many of you hear this, we're having a tape on Thursday. By the time you hear this, Georgia will know if they're going to have a chance at sports betting come today. I think they're going to take the least, what I consider the path of least legislator resistance, and that is they're going to put it as a constitutional amendment, which doesn't need to happen, by the way. Every legal scholar has looked at it, said, no, they don't need to do this. But it gives the legislators room to vote for it and says, well, the people can decide. Also, the governor doesn't have to sign that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it will be curious to see, Doug, as they went in, 20 minutes ago. And I know this is a tape program, so that's really irrelevant. But yeah, that'll be until midnight tonight. And you're right. By the time we get there tomorrow, we'll know. And it is the path of least resistance. But as a political consultant, I'm all for the people deciding constitutional referendums. I think that's probably a bad way to make policy in most instances. Yeah. But at the same time, it'll be colorful and it'll be fun to watch. And, there'll probably be a lot of activity and money on both sides. And I'm curious to see if it manifests itself, how it shakes out.
Well, here's my concern, Chip, and let's just talk, politics. How does play in a political? Normally, you put constitutional amendments on the ballot if you're in a majority. You put it on the ballot because it helps you drive turnout.
Yeah.
Okay. You do it for like English as a second language. No, no illegals be able to vote. That kind of stuff. You see these that drive turnout, and Georgia used to do it well with Republican turnout drives. Something with Second Amendment, those kind of things. This one, though, think about this for a second. It may not be necessarily a Trump or Biden issue, okay? Because both, but if it's something that will draw Republican evangelicals, some who just they make their case, they don't like gambling at all. This is sort of the same thing back in the lottery back in '92 when it first came in. Just a quick thought? This is a first impression kind of question. Could this backfire for Republicans, bringing out both for and against on this issue?
It's possible, Doug, but and I don't have right now I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't have a client. I think personally I'd like to see sports betting, right? I think it would be a good thing. But from the data that I've seen over the years, just about all Democrats are for it. And about half the Republicans are for it. And so rank and file Republicans, voters, people that don't go to the Capitol every day, people that, aren't government affairs experts and lobbyists and things like that, right? It's more of it's just kind of more of a freedom issue and things like that. And so, yeah. And Doug, too, we also, just because there's sports betting in Georgia doesn't mean there's going to be a sports book at every street corner. To the contrary, it's going to be limited at first. The scale is going to be limited. It's probably
and it'll be more mobile.
That's right. More mobile, and at the stadiums, at the professional sports stadiums. And so, look, there's always that possibility, but I think that's more of a risk in a non-presidential election year, Doug, because I think in presidential election years, turnout is always generated by the presidential ballot. And so, it's just something we ought to watch and see how it plays out.
I agree with you completely. Here's my quick hot take on this, and it's pure hot take. I think in the end, because of Trump's in the presidential side, and remember, the reason I talk about this, folks, and Chip and I are going to dig into this later in the year, but Georgia is going to be a unique case because we have no unifying statewide person on the ballot. Nobody's on that ballot except the president at this point. And so, and you got very little elections things going on in the general in November for turnout. So you got counties in which this and the presidential will be the only thing. I'm going to be I'm like you, I'm not sure, but I will say this. If the evangelical vote sticks with Trump, which you feel that it will, especially in rural counties, other places, then this will be a help. Now, here may be the funny part. The same people who will vote for Donald Trump, who owns casinos, are going to vote no on sports betting.
No, you're right. It's hey, politics makes strange bedfellows. It always.
You better believe it, baby. But that could end up, I think, helping Trump because it could turn out 10% more. I'm just not sure. Again, we're going to leave this topic, get on to some fun topics here. But I'm just not sure what we saw in the 80s and 90s on what we'll call moral issue voting. On not people, not candidates, not that. I think that's still there. A pro-life candidate, I think those are still there. But these kind of issues, I'm wondering if you're going to see the absurdities like we saw in '92 with the lottery in Georgia. I just don't think we will.
I don't think so either. I think it's a new era, and I think your assessment is correct.
All right, and that brings us out of the political section and here he comes, full video and all. There he is. Oh my! There he is. James is here with the Mets hat on.
Had to get the Mr. Met doing a slide.
And he ends up about 3 feet short of the bag. But hey,
now they can't slide at all because you can't put your foot in front of. I saw that stupid play the other day where you can't put your foot in front of the bag. I don't understand.
Well, no, but
I thought the whole point was. Doesn't matter. Major League Baseball has made enough faux pas. We can't even jump out of that one because there's like 70 others we got to get to first. But speaking of
Well,
gambling,
here we go. And everybody,
first of all, gentlemen, if I get phone calls from you like, hey, I need a couple $100 because I bet all my money on Kirk Cousins winning the Super Bowl this year, I don't want to hear it. All right?
oh my God, here we're at back. And Chip, you missed this last week. It was like a shovel picking him up off the floor. I mean, it's like, oh my God.
I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine.
We love it. Hey, welcome to the for everybody listening in. Now you know the fun has arrived. James is here. Here's a question for both, and Chip and James, y'all both brought this sort of up. Is there any possible way that baseball can screw up its public image even more? I mean, it's just people. I mean, they make rules changes. I got to give fact. The ball games did go quicker last year. I'll give them that.
Great.
That part.
We thought they fixed it. We thought they fixed the problems.
But now it's like we're entering into a year in which supposedly opening day was last week in Korea. Now you got Shohei Ohtani, who is the face of American Major League Baseball is Shohei Ohtani.
The best player we've seen in 100 years, it feels like.
All right. Let's take a quick poll. How many of you believe he didn't bet?
Oh,
well.
I'm going to turn my camera off so I don't get in trouble. Ain't no way he didn't know $4 million was coming out of his pocket like that.
Well, and look, I mean, this has all the markings of a huge story when you get to the bottom of it, because I mean, his interpreter is in the dugout with him in Korea, and the Dodgers are the ones that have to tell Shohei that $4.5 million is missing from his account.
Wait,
I mean, I don't know, man. And I think this is. I think there's more to this story, and I think we're going to find out what that more is. Right? I think we'll get to the bottom of this over time. And it's just hard to give Shohei the benefit of the doubt right now. I want to, but
I don't know why he said he didn't know anything. Why?
Yeah. Why did they put him out there?
I don't understand. Yeah. I am not a lawyer. I said this to Doug the other day. But why would you even go out there and say, I didn't know a thing about it? If they find one text message, it's over. Yeah. It's done. One little piece of email.
Yeah, you don't put him on. Yeah, you don't put him out there.
And what's even worse is like he had to. Now, I'm not saying that the guy wasn't stealing from him. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's right.
It could be the case. All right, let's not say it. But
two things can be true at once. He could be betting through this interpreter, and his interpreter could be stealing. Both of those could be the case.
There is one.
Well, the question.
Sorry, go ahead, Doug.
What's that? No, my question is this though: the reality of this, because isn't, and maybe I don't know, because I don't follow the Shohei Ohtani story that closely. Okay, I haven't I would do it from a distance, but wasn't this interpreter like one of his best friends?
Yes.
Like, wasn't they close?
He might have had to betray his best friend. Now, listen, if the case is that Ohtani was giving his friend money, which is what I thought at first, and he was trying to cover that up, which I thought was stupid, take a couple game suspension and leave. Because the MLB is not going to get rid of you forever if you were helping your friend. They'll suspend you 100%, but you'll get through it. But he might have just had to throw his bet. His lawyers looked at him and was like, it's either you or it's your pal. And his pal's on the way out. But the craziest part of the story is when they dug in and they found out that the interpreter had a bunch of fake things on his resume. Did you guys see that part of it?
No,
he went to he supposedly went to a college. They don't have him on record at all. And it says he was an interpreter for the Yankees and the Red Sox before this, and that wasn't true either. So no background. Now, listen, they didn't have to because Shohei's like, I either sign with you and he comes with me or you don't get me. So they probably did no background checks. They didn't care. But I just think it's funny that, like,
who pays you?
You got a chance to Shohei Ohtani. Who gives
it doesn't matter. Take whoever you want. You bring your whole family.
Yeah.
Bring all of Japan with you. As long as you sign with the Dodgers, we'll do
That's
whatever
right.
you want.
That's right.
Yeah, well, who was, and maybe I missed this, who is paying the interpreter? Is he a personal employee of Ohtani, or was he an employee?
No, he was an employee of the Dodgers.
Yeah. Now, I did hear one thing, and I have a question for you guys, because I have no money. So all of my money coming out of my account is seen in every step. You guys might have a little more money than I do. So I have a question.
That's true. That's true.
Have you ever had money sent out that you didn't sign for? Like, let's say you were donating to something. Was somebody able to sign for you and all your information? Do any of you have managers for anything? Because I was thinking about this.
Does Lisa count?
Well, okay, but that is important. If Lisa's sending out money, has she ever done all the information in your name? The only reason I'm asking is because if he has
yes, but she's on the account.
Sure, right.
Yeah,
well, that's my point. Is if Shohei's guy,
April and Lisa have a very good arrangement. You do not mess with April and Lisa's arrangement here. We don't touch that.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because let's say Shohei. This is Shohei's money. This guy does everything for Shohei, pretty much, right? He might have access to his information. So let's say he takes out $2 million or something like that. The bank's going to call and be like, hey, are you sure this is you? Blah, blah, blah. He might just have that information. I mean, it's not crazy to think he's got the pins, the account numbers, all that stuff.
No, wait. Yeah, look, I get what you're going at. Because we see this all the time with big accounts. They have money managers. Right. I mean, how many ball players have been left by their accountant? I mean, they even did a Rocky, about an accountant taking all their money. Okay, it happens. I think this one, the bigger problem here is, and the thing that I think Major League Baseball is fumbling on right here is they have an issue. Gambling is legal in California.
Correct.
Okay, it is. The problem comes in the moral turpitude of the Major League Baseball not wanting the appearance of gambling on baseball. See, that's another thing I've not heard.
With a bookie, though, not an illegal bookie, not legally. That's the problem.
Yeah, but my question is, we know the bets? I've only heard the amounts.
Yeah.
What was they betting on?
Well, we can't find out because it was an illegal bookie. So until the bookie would come forth and be like, yeah, he bet the under on LeBron getting.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is so problematic. But the problem is, now you're going to have to prove it. You got to show this illegal bookie. This illegal bookie is not going to want to be found anywhere.
Absolutely not.
He probably is already being able to be found because he may have already been put in hiding.
Right. Wait a minute.
It's a problem.
Wait a minute. No, the reason this was found out is because they were already onto the bookie. They were investigating the bookie, which is how we found out about all this.
Oh, okay. So I thought they found out through the money first. So they found out through the bookie. So the bookie opened his mouth.
There was an investigation ongoing of the bookie, and then the money transaction to the bookie was higher than any that they
imagine
had.
finding that jackpot. Could you imagine? Let's say, I don't know if it's an FBI agent or whoever's looking into it, but what if you're just like a local cop looking into it, and all of a sudden you're like, is that Shohei Ohtani? No way. Dude, we got to do this. We got to take this to the press immediately.
Yeah.
That is.
And that's why there are too many players in this transaction.
Correct.
There are too many entities in this transaction for this not to continue to develop. And what's going to happen is it's going to drip, 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 and James might be right. Maybe the guy did rip Shohei off, and maybe he did have access to it
too, though, Chip.
We're about to hear all about it over time.
Yeah. Here's the out question. Here's the out question on this issue. With what we know now at this proceeding, what's your prediction quickly? What's your prediction for Ohtani? I'll go first. I'll just relieve the burden. I think he does not finish the year with the playing with the Dodgers. I think the turn will be at least a year or better suspension from baseball.
Doug, I think it depends on if he bet on baseball, right? If he was betting on football and basketball and darts and everything else, I think he can. He can avoid a lengthy suspension. If he bet on baseball, he's in for a year. He's in for a year. I don't know anywhere around it.
If he bet on baseball, he's out, and then they have to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Okay,
there we go.
Here's the thing: there's no way baseball is going to allow him to get suspended. They are going to do everything humanly possible to cover up anything that he did wrong, because he is the most important thing in baseball outside of like a Yankees, Red Sox, ALCS.
Cover-ups. Generally, cover-ups only work when the lights aren't shining really, really bright on the stage. It's easy to do a cover-up when the underlying activity is not known to the public. It's a lot harder to do a cover-up when the underlying activity is suspected of the public. But I can assure you of one thing. I know one thing for certain. There is no chance that Shohei Ohtani learns better English in the next year. No chance.
I saw one of my best memes before we move on. One of the best Twitter posts I saw on this whole thing was, wouldn't it be, said the real discovery of this whole issue will be the fact that Shohei Ohtani speaks perfect English.
Yeah.
The internet, the internet was meant for moments like this. This is what it was undefeated.
It's just undefeated. All right. Speaking of internets and moving on, before we allow James to melt down here in a minute about his new quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, the Royals. Chip, I'm going to draw a little bit on now. James is our public, and James has made it very clear he could care. He thinks that we finished the Royals issue in 1776.
They're useless. They mean nothing to anyone.
Well, I'm not going to argue the point, but Chip, you and I have dealt with public relations for most of our adult life. How can a group that is so wealthy, so able to obtain whatever they want, be so absolutely terrible at PR?
Oh, Major League Baseball?
No, the Royals.
No. Yeah, the Royals. The Royals, not the Kansas City Royals. We'll get Scott Paradise in for that. But no, Kate Middleton.
The Royals. Sorry, no, I did. I lost.
See, you're on with James here. They don't matter.
I lost you guys for like 20 seconds. I had to log back on, so I missed that. No, it's just. I mean, no, I can't answer that question. I mean, I have. They're. In today's day and age, there's really no secrets. You just got to determine when you want to have to tell the truth or shape the truth. And they're not good at that either. I mean, so not only are they, they're not good at lying. It's bad when you're not good at lying and you're not good at telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because then your PR has zero chance at being effective. Zero.
James, in looking at it, I know you don't care. I know we don't. But
for me. I don't mind picking on the
But
British.
the fun part here is, she puts out a video, and we'll bring this back into public life here. She puts out this video saying, I had this surgery, they found out cancer, and basically CNN, which I thought was hilarious, CNN on one of the shows has a doctor of oncology in New York basically say, that story ain't, that I have problems with that story.
Oh. Well, and he said there's no such thing as preemptive chemotherapy.
Right.
It's not a medical
right. It's like, okay, what, the problem here, and then while they're silent, everything from she's dead. This is becoming the Paul McCartney of the story of the 2024. Paul McCartney's been dead for 60 years, and they got a body double in. You go all the way to the fact that the king, now you got, the story of Harry coming home for 24 hours, which again, I don't understand that one at all. No matter how bad you and your dad may not get along, you fly all the way to England from Los Angeles, you stay less than 24 hours and get back on a plane and go back. Like I said, it's just amazing.
And look, I had lung cancer last year, and I had a lobe of my lung taken out in June, and they suspected that it was cancerous, but they had to go in and take it out and test it in order to determine it. So you're telling me she went in for abdominal surgery, knew she was going to have to stay in and recover for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden she gives a video and says at the time it wasn't cancerous, or they didn't think it was cancerous. Baloney. Of course they thought it was cancerous.
They sent a sample off during surgery.
But they didn't know. They needed to get it out of your stomach and test it. I mean, come on.
I'm not going to jump on the cancer thing because obviously, Chip, I didn't know that. So I'm sorry. That's incredible that you're okay.
Oh, no, it's all good.
But my cousin just got cancer. She just got through it. So the cancer thing, this is the first cancer video that felt like a hostage video. Like she was forced to tell people she had cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest about it. Whatever, if she has cancer, that is, I mean, she does. Let's just say she has cancer. That is absolutely terrible. She has cancer. That is a nightmare. Her PR team, do you know how quick, like, that's the only reason it feels suspicious is like, why wouldn't you say that immediately? Like, what is her standing in, like, I guess this is my question. If Joe Biden's wife had cancer, we would know immediately.
Yeah.
What is the downside of knowing? Right? There is no downside of knowing that she has cancer. What are
and she said they wanted their kids to know, but you just
you're a royal. You don't have a choice. You're one of the most famous people on the planet. What do you think? Everybody's going to be quiet in that hospital? Did they have a gun to everybody in that hospiel? That's you better not say anything, otherwise the King Charles and his fat fingers are going to come get you. There's no world.
Look,
it doesn't make sense.
This goes back to a situation Chip and I had some dealings with on a totally different subject. We're not going to talk about in detail, but it's one of those things where you could have, if coming out and doing it, you could have gained ground. You didn't. Instead of trying to be sneaky about it or hiding with it, you could have done it before and gained ground. And that's what I don't understand. The Royals seem to always want to go the start line, run backwards 50 yards, and then try to run forward.
People would have been super sympathetic. Oh my God, she has cancer. We're not going to talk about that their marriage is in shambles and this, that, and the other. None of that's it. She was in hiding for months.
She's the new Lady Di. I mean, and they got to understand that she's compared to Diana. She's compared to Diana completely.
Yeah.
But if she would have come out directly and said there was cancer, folks like me would have never heard of Rose Hanbury. So there you have that.
So she leaked the story. Exactly.
And I never knew that one existed either. There we go. Now we get into the real stuff. All right, moving on here real quickly. The draft is coming up. We'll probably save a little more of our draft discussion until next week. But James, we wanted to give you at least a minute or two to vent or to expound on the greatness of your new quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. And it looks like it's coming out. I do have a question. Before I'm going to let James build up here. So just stew here for a second, James. Chip, what happened? Did I miss something about Drake May? Did something happen? Because James brought this up earlier before we started today. We were talking offline. Drake May's not even discussed as much anymore, except they'll put him on the board, but nobody says anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you missed anything, Doug. I just think, look, this is it's a quarterback-rich draft, and Drake's kind of he's not Caleb Williams, he's not Jaden Daniels, and so he's kind of that second tier after that first tier. But by the way, I mean this is a draft in which that second tier after that first tier could still be and likely will be top 10 picks. And so look, I predict there will be, and I don't know where they will be. We very rarely ever know where they'll be, but there will be some big surprises on draft day at the quarterback position. I think there could be 5 quarterbacks off the board by pick 12.
All right. Well, all right, James. We're coming to you now. You got McCarthy. I mean, I will say I alerted you to the fact that your coach was on McAfee, and he did well. He sort of didn't give away anything, but again, McCarthy doesn't seem to be a fit for Minnesota.
All right, so this is how I'm looking at it. I think we said this. I said this either last week or the week before, that I said I'd rather be irrational and delusional than sad. So I've taken that route very strongly. I'm all in on whatever quarterback the Vikings decide to take. Here's why. Kevin O'Connell, I genuinely believe, is a genius. I think he can do almost anything with any quarterback. For God's sakes, he made the Pasternaut famous for about 2 weeks. All right, let's be honest. It all went downhill from there, but whatever. My point is that, and I hate agreeing with Colin Cowherd because he's wrong 98% of the time. So this is part of the delusional part. He was like, the Vikings are a furnished apartment, which they are on offense. They have everything they need, especially getting Aaron Jones this offseason. So whatever quarterback steps in will have an easier time than maybe other places if a guy went to, let's say, Washington or the Patriots, right? So J.J. McCarthy has skyrocketed up this draft, all the way to number 2 in some cases, which how, I don't know. But that leaves Drake May wide open for some reason. So my choices are Drake May and J.J. McCarthy, and I'm deciding between the two. And then I saw J.J. McCarthy throw the same ball that has landed the Jets in hot water for 4 years. It's that off-foot dart from Zach Wilson, that elite throw that he made, that has put the Jets in hell. Do not take J.J. McCarthy if that's what you're basing it off of. If you think, oh, that throw's amazing, that's our guy, the Vikings will be doomed for the next 10 years.
Well, it went on. By the way, Chip, Raheem, the new coach at the Falcons, was on McAfee right after the greatest coach in the NFL, according to James.
Yes.
Actually sounded pretty good. I had not really heard him speak in that kind of environment. He was off the cuff. He was really. I mean, I think he talking about Cousins. He was talking about the defense. It was. Also, I was pleased to see that.
That dude will knock your block off if you come near him.
Well, I love what he said to Pat McAfee. Pat said something about, do you know Kevin, the coach of Minnesota? And Raheem just looked at him and said, yeah, we won a Super Bowl together. And it's like, dang. It's like, McAfee, you better know your stuff a little better here in that regard, right there on his own show. It looks at, I think we're going to do it much more in-depth on the draft coming up. We'll see what happens there. I also think Caleb, I'll just sort of let this one alone, but just sort of put it out there. Caleb Williams, if he doesn't know that he's in the spotlight, better understand that everybody's watching everything he does.
That was bold.
He's taken a brutal. It's been a brutal social media few days for Caleb Williams. I'll just leave that there for y'all to go find as we go. But here's the one why did they, instead of doing what they did with the kickoff rule, why didn't they just, if this is what you're going to do, just ban the kickoff? Because Chip, why else? I will give up the 5 yards to the 30 just for the sake of knowing, the 6 or 7 yards, just to keep my people from not even. If you want to keep them getting hurt, just have your kicker kick it out of the end zone every time.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see the change. What change did they? I saw speculation.
Yeah, it's USFL. It's the XFL kickoff. They're going to line them up at the 25, the 35, 5 yards apart. The kicker is going to kick off from the 35. If it goes out of the end zone, the ball is placed on the 30. If it's in the playing field and downed, it goes to the 20 or something, or caught in the end zone, fair caught in the end zone, it was a 20 yard line. But it was just like, as I told James earlier, at this point, I'm just going to have my kicker kick it through the end zone, and we're just going to start playing 30-yard football.
Yeah, and they can look, these kickers, I mean, they're so strong nowadays. Their legs are so strong. I mean, if you're kicking in the NFL, you could kick it out of the end zone, right? Unless you're in an outdoor stadium and the wind's in your face at 10 miles an hour, it's going out of the end zone. And look, the NFL scoring was down in the NFL last year, and that's not a trend the NFL wants to have continue. And so what better way to do it than to, give teams the ball at the 30 instead of the 25 and make them drive 75, make them drive 70 yards instead of 75. So,
the other thing is, and James, I saw this as well. I noticed that they were talking about this, McAfee and several other First Take and some of the others. They did a study. There was only one return touchdown in the XFL under this format. Only one.
Sure, but you're also talking about the XFL. I mean, these guys are. I'm not saying they're not good athletes, but in compared to the NFL, it goes both ways. Yeah,
but you have better tacklers.
Stronger. But those athletes,
you don't have better tacklers.
Listen, if you have someone like Josh Cribbs or I'm blanking out on the best kicker return, Devin Hester back there, there's a chance. I hear what you guys are saying. Just kick it through the end zone, 100% for sure. But 25 to 30 is a bit of a difference, right? Just a bit. I'm not saying it's crazy, but it is a bit of a difference.
Now we're going to Moneyball.
I'm just saying yes, but I think you're going to be surprised at how many returns there are this year. Not full returns. I'm just saying guys will actually take it.
It does bring strategy into the play a little more.
Yeah, right. At the very least, it doesn't give us what we had last year. That's all. Right. I think that's all I'm thinking. It's like
I think it go either way. I think James. I think y'all are right. I think it go either way though. I think you're either going to go one or the other. Okay, they're going to play the strategy move. They're going to let the people run the kickoffs back. But if you really honestly going to because if they break through that front line, you got a kicker.
Yeah, which is hilarious. That's it. Putting the kicker on an island is so funny.
Yeah, that won't be fun at all. And McAfee could actually come back into the league now because he used to tackle. So it's a whole different issue. But you got one. So I think I'm not sure you'll actually have it. I think it's going to go back still the other way. But I've got a point for you. Here's what I think you could do. If you wanted to up the scoring and you wanted to make kickers even more valuable, and you wanted to take it to a position, let a kickoff that goes through the uprights count for 1 point or 2 and give the ball then give the ball at the 30-yard line to the other team.
I would love that rule.
Ooh.
But it would never happen because dudes been do it too often. They would it would be the number one thing guys would do because there's no harm in it. And then you'd never get a kickoff again. Because I would be shooting that thing through the uprights all day. On a tee, these guys live off the tee. That they would have send it into the stands. Also, could you imagine who's the punter? Is Harrison Butker a punter? I think it is.
Yeah.
He's just standing back there and Tyreek Hill's coming full speed at him and it's just one-on-one. I am loving it. He runs after him. Tyreek Hill literally snaps his ankles when he turns on him. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
Did you guys see Tyreek Hill, the highlights of him playing against the best French football players? Did you see this?
No.
It was a quick. He was running routes against a French American football team. If the NFL, when the NFL is in the Olympics, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be so fun. Oh yeah. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry, you guys got to watch it.
The flag football stuff. All right. Lot going on here. We got Easter coming up this weekend. I hope all of you have a good Easter, maybe family coming in. I know we got the part of mine's coming in as we go this weekend. Any before we take a last round, any big predictions, Chip, or last word?
Oh, wow. Big predictions or last word. I predict that there are going to be a lot of Major League Baseball games rained out the first week of the season. Mother Nature will be the big winner in the Major League Baseball's first week of the Major League Baseball season.
All right, James.
We didn't talk college basketball, but the men's and women's tournament is about to really heat up. So tune in this weekend because it's going to be a lot of good games. And Caitlin Clark and Paige Becker's better meet because that's all I want. I know that's going to be incredible.
Well, okay. As the show host, I'm going to take the personal privilege here, especially on your last one. The best video of the week was Caitlin Clark and her dad.
Yes.
I mean, I represent that dad so much. Yeah. Chip, how many times have you told your boys, just shut up?
Yeah. No.
Okay, all right. Quick story. I used to coach Little League, coach football, everything. And I had this one kid. It just shows you how much the NFL and video have influence on kids. We threw a pass. The pass was nowhere close. Our kid gets hit. And the first thing he does, I mean, this is an 8-year-old. He jumps up doing this. And his dad was one of my assistant coaches. His dad yells at him.
I got fouled.
Yeah.
Hey, they see it on TV.
That's what it is. All right, but there's my one. James, you brought that in. I had to bring
one
it.
day, we won't do it now. We'll have to talk about me getting thrown out of a basketball game for taunting the other team's coach. We'll get into that one day. But also, before we go, did you see Caitlin Clark got offered $5 million to be in the Big Three by Ice Cube?
Do
it. Got to do it.
Yeah. All right, here's my last word. The great thing about this country is that we have 2 times of the year in which they actually put out good candy. During the Easter season, it is the Robin Eggs by Whoppers. During the fall season, it is candy corn.
Doug, you know I'm trying to lose
Life
weight.
is
Why are you
good.
putting that out there?
All is good. Folks, that's it for James Chip and I here on Doug Collins Friday's Finest. Go out and have a blessed weekend. We will talk to you soon. Thanks.